Well, now to the latest on President-elect Trump's transition to the White House. He's forging ahead with making picks for his cabinet, even as there are questions about whether some of his selections will get past a Republican-controlled Senate.
Bradley Blackburn joins us live with more on the new names that could now join the administration. Bradley?
Doug, Elaine, we always knew that the cabinet in a second Trump administration would look different than the first. But for some of these selections, it's been alarming to Democrats and some Republicans. And overnight, we also learned who may speak for the Trump White House as press secretary.
Late Friday, President-elect Trump picked Caroline Leavitt as his new White House press secretary. The 27-year-old would be the youngest person to hold that job in history. She was his chief spokesperson during the campaign and served in the previous Trump administration. Trump held a gala Thursday night at Mar-a-Lago, hosting many of his cabinet picks and declaring he has a mandate.
The biggest political victory in 129 years.
But Trump's choice for Secretary of Defense, the military veteran and Fox News host Pete Hegseth, is facing new questions over tattoos with phrases and symbols linked to extremist groups and a California police investigation for an alleged sexual assault. Monterey police said no charges were filed. Hegseth's lawyer said this should not have any impact on the confirmation process. And Trump's choice for Attorney General, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, is facing scrutiny from senators who want to see findings from a House investigation into whether he was involved in sexual misconduct with a minor and illicit drug use.
I think it's important for them to have all critical information that they need to make an intelligent decision.
Gaetz has denied wrongdoing, and on Friday, Speaker Mike Johnson threw cold water on the idea of releasing the report now that Gaetz has resigned the House.
Stick to the tradition and not release a report on a former member of the House because it would open a dangerous Pandora's box.
Trump has called for recess appointments so his nominees could bypass the Senate confirmation process.
But the question is whether the Senate will go along with granting recess appointments. 50 senators would have to sign off on an extended recess to trigger that process. So a handful of Republican holdouts could stop it. Doug and Elaine?
Bradley Blackburn live for us here in the newsroom, in the studio, I should say. Bradley, thank you. Well, speaking of Trump allies, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani has turned over dozens of luxury watches and his Mercedes. In a letter filed in Manhattan federal court on Friday, Giuliani's lawyers said those items were surrendered. The assets are going to two former Georgia election workers who are owed $148 million after they sued the former mayor for defamation. His $5 million Upper East Side apartment and his collection of Yankees World Series rings are among the other big-ticket items named in the judgment.